Yes, well, you already mentioned some of the effects of flash flooding in urban areas, but if I could briefly circle back to some of the concerns of our more rural users, because we do have some users who are interested in effects on the farming sector as well. And large parts of India have either had no rain at all so far, or have seen a large deficiency of rainfall. Do you think that they should prepare for a continuation of drought conditions, severe drought conditions? And is that something that you think might happen more often in the future?
Yeah, actually, for farmers, in the perspective of farmers, there are 3-4 issues, main issues. I'm talking about Indian perspective. And one is, of course, the variability is increasing. The monsoon, see, assume that monsoon rain. I'll talk about only monsoon rainfall, June to September, southwest monsoon. Of course, there are other monsoon rainfall seasons also, but I'll concentrate more on June to September. So if you have to consider June to September, the variability of rainfall from year to year, and also from within the season is changing. And maybe that again it is due to climate change. So that means more and more droughts, more and more floods, and the normal years are reduced. So you stretch up that kind of a variability. So you get extremes more. The frequency of extremes are more. So that will have a lot of stress on farmers. Not only drought, even floods are not good for farmers. A medium rainfall is good, but if the whole area is flooded, it will affect agriculture. That's it. So variability is increasing. Number two is the number of, in the monsoon season you have active spells followed by a kind of a big spell we call break spell. Then again, some after a few days again you will get a. So now what is happening is this dry spell or so-called weak spells or the break spell. The number of days with the dry spell is increasing. That means once it goes to a dry spell, it prolongs for a longer time, much more longer time. And so it will have a stress on agriculture because soil will become more dry now that by that time. Unless you get a lot of sufficient rain afterwards, again then the stress will be there on agriculture. And third important thing is when it rains very heavily. When it rains very heavily. So the intensity of rain and a particular rain in a agricultural field is increasing. And so if we expect 3-4 days, we expect some 30 millimeter, 40 millimeter, but this 30-40 millimeter can come in few hours. And when it happens, means the dry soil is not saturated, whole water will simply flow away. There will be no water for agriculture. Simply it will flow away. Especially in the beginning of season, the soil is normally very dry. So when it rains, but the people may say on record it says that it rained a lot of rains you received it, but no use because simply it must have flown out. And so they need to create some kind of methods. Of course, many people do that. They store the water and that kind of thing they do. And so as far as monsoon season is concerned, farmers are faced with 3-4 problems: increasing variability, intense precipitation, the increasing dry spell, a number of rainy days. The days in which you expect a minimum rain, threshold rain, is decreasing. So after 120 days, if you assume that in a particular region, 60 days we expect some rain, now that 60 has become 50. So you get less number of days you get rain. And if you to calculate the total quantum of rainfall in a particular region, it doesn't change much. It is same. Because when it rains heavily. Okay, but number of rain spells and the duration of the dry spells are all changing. So farmers have an additional burden of coping up with their farming as well as make sure that the cropping pattern is good and they adjust to this kind of variation. So so we need to really teach them. People may not be aware that this kind of thing. Of course, people say they have a lot of local knowledge and that's all fine. But as a learned people, scientists, we are supposed to teach them, saying that this is happening. So you may have to change your agriculture practice. You may have to change your policy, etc.